My office, on one of the upper floors of the financial district, had a breathtaking view of the city. But the beauty of the skyline held no allure on this day. The world was unraveling, the economy collapsing, and my thoughts were consumed by one urgent need: to reach my family. As I stared at my computer screen, the flashing red stock market graphs painted a bleak picture. The economic crisis, which had loomed on the horizon for so long, had become a grim reality. The news on my phone mirrored the despair, reporting banks shutting their doors and a wave of panic sweeping through the city. I couldn't linger in the city any longer. My wife and kids lived in a peaceful suburban community miles away from my office. With the streets becoming jammed and chaos unfolding, I had to get home to them as swiftly as possible. In the corner of my office, tucked away from prying eyes, was my bugout bag. It contained supplies I had diligently chosen and prepared over the years. Today, it was my lifeline. With a sense of urgency, I slung the bag over my shoulder and made my way to the parking garage. The path ahead would be fraught with danger, and I knew I had to rely on my survival skills to navigate the city's tumultuous streets. As I descended to the dimly lit parking garage, the atmosphere was heavy with tension. Other employees rushed to their cars, their faces etched with worry and fear. I couldn't help but notice the absence of familiar faces, co-workers who had been my companions for years. It was as if the economic collapse had scattered them to the winds. At my car, I wasted no time. I tossed my go bag in the passenger seat, understanding that every second counted. The city I once knew had already transformed into a place of uncertainty and peril, and I had to reach my family before it was too late. With the engine humming to life, I pulled out of the parking garage and onto the city streets. The roads were already more congested, and the atmosphere was thick with apprehension. Desperate individuals filled the sidewalks, some looting, others attempting to hail cabs. The news on the radio mirrored the despair, reporting bank runs as a wave of panic swept through the city. I knew I had to remain inconspicuous, avoid drawing attention to myself. I employed my knowledge of the city's shortcuts, hidden alleys, and back streets to make progress. The journey was challenging, but I had no option but to keep moving. My thoughts were with my family, my wife, and kids, awaiting my return. They were the light in this dark world, and I couldn't let anything obstruct my path. As I approached the city's outskirts, the tranquil suburbs came into view. The once peaceful streets had been transformed into a landscape of despair and fear. My heart raced with anticipation as I neared my neighborhood. However, as I approached one of the streets I needed to drive through, a group of armed individuals obstructed my path. They were a neighborhood watch, cautious protectors of their community. I raised my hands as a sign of peace and explained my mission to reach my family. After a tense pause, the leader of the group allowed me to proceed. I was one step closer to reuniting with my family and facing the unknowns of this dystopian-turned world together.